Hi everyone, this is Colin Tierney from Sageworks. I wanted to briefly welcome you all to the webinar and thank you for joining us today. Tell you a little bit about the conversation we'll be having, and we'll just quickly dive into this. So first off, just some housekeeping. If you have questions at any point, you can access the panel that should be on the right side of your screen, most likely. There's a questions box there. Feel free to type in any questions anytime. We will respond to those during the course of the webinar if there are quick ones that we can answer, or if you have technical issues. And then we'll also have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and we'll have a couple folks joining us for that. So stay tuned for the Q&A, and like I said, feel free to put questions in the box at any time. Wanted to give you a quick overview of Sageworks in case anyone on the line is not familiar with us. We are a technology company based in North Carolina, been around for about 20 years now. We have products for a couple different markets that we serve, including accounting, valuation, and on the banking side, we have some products as well. We are a SaaS company, so if you're unfamiliar with what that term means, it's essentially software that is more than just the software. It's actually more of a technology partnership, where we have people on staff here who make sure that every customer who comes in the door is worked with closely so that we can identify exactly how our software can help, and also make sure that it's rolled out at their firm as quickly as possible. We like to move quickly and help people get up to speed and make sure that they're benefiting from the software. And so when anyone works with Sageworks, it really is a technology partnership in that sense. And that consulting and training that happens is part of the package in a sense. We don't charge extra for that necessarily. So when people become a customer of ours, they get the benefit of that service ongoing for their firm. A quick note on the presenter today. I'd like to, in a second, introduce you to Mike McCaffrey. Mike has been with us for a while now, and he's very familiar with the finance space as well as the technology space. He's had the benefit over the years of working at Sageworks of having conversations with, and I kid you not, literally thousands of CPA and valuation firms. And throughout those conversations, and frankly the conversations of the team here, we've identified a lot of valuable insights and information that we're going to share with you today. So this is a conversation with Mike to give us his feedback and thoughts on some challenges that the firms that he's connected with have given to us and said, here's some things that we need some help with, and also some areas where Sageworks specifically has made an effort and created products to help serve and meet those challenges. So Mike is going to have some ideas for you, many of which early on in the webinar will be ideas that actually aren't related to our software at all. So we want to make sure that we're giving you some valuable insights and thoughts and feedback to help you in your firms, because we believe strongly in thought leadership. And if you haven't experienced one of our webinars before, you'll know, or should know going forward, that we create quite a few ongoing thought leadership webinars that don't focus on our product at all. Today you'll hear a little bit more about our technology than usual, but definitely stay tuned for future webinars, CPE credit webinars, and other thought leadership content like white papers that are all for free and downloadable on our website. So definitely go to sageworks.com after this and take a look at the free content and other resources that are available to you. So I'd like to turn this over to Mike right now, and he's going to get into this first slide, and I'll let him kick it off.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Colin. I appreciate the intro there, and it's amazing to look back over just a couple of years, and really, Colin said thousands of conversations. It's probably thousands of conversations with accounting firms and valuation firms that we've had. The challenges have become very, very consistent. We hear a lot of the same stories repeated from different firms. The other cool thing about today's content we're going to have, this discussion we're going to have, is it is a little bit more product focused from our side of things. We like to deliver value, and to do that in the past, we've always brought industry insights and knowledge to these webinars. I'm going to try and do that too, but admittedly, we will talk a little bit more about our products. I want to do that, though, in context of the challenges that we see folks facing, and then how that straight line from that challenge to a software as a service solution like Sageworks is helping other accounting firms. So hopefully it won't be just a boring product knowledge drop on you folks. You'll actually see it in the framework of what your day is like. So there's that element of today's conversation. The other is, at the end, we have a second speaker that we're really happy to have with us. Kirk is with us, and he's actually a ProfitCents customer who's recently joined our family of customers, if you will, and he's using the software. Sees a lot of the challenges that you guys do as well, and he's already got some great success that I think is going to be probably the most valuable part of this webinar for anybody listening, because you're obviously the folks who want to benefit from software, and he already is. So to set this up, you know, Sageworks and the challenges that accounting and business valuation firms face, it says it right there. We've kind of got that boiled down to 6 main challenges that you see there on the screen. In my own mind, I kind of summarize those for folks that they fall into 2 categories. One is, how do I create more value at my firm? How do I create value for my customers? And that second bucket of challenges really goes down to scalability. If you're going to try and deliver more services to your existing clients, obviously that's more work. You're going to need to have better process, you know, more people, be more efficient in how you do that work to fully service that client with the new engagements. If you're going to just try and increase your client roster and win new business, it comes with the same challenges. You're going to have more work. It's going to have different work you're going to have to do to get those folks in the door and win their hearts and minds and earn their business. It's going to come right back to the idea of being scalable. If you've got the process that you've been using for the last 5, 10, 20 years, it's going to be tough to change what the output is if you don't have a more efficient process to work through those. So I want to discuss how those challenges kind of hit people in detail, and we'll talk about how Sageworks provides some solutions for those challenges. So, you know, in particular, the first part of that is value. How are you going to provide more value for your clientele and win new clients? That ultimately will grow your business. So things I hear all the time when we're talking about, hey, I got to try and acquire new clients, people bring this up all the time. It's, if I have to win new business, marketing is expensive, it's difficult, I don't know if it works, I don't know how to market correctly or efficiently for my own firm, and that's going to be a tough thing to do. To find new clients will be costly, and it will take a lot of resources. How am I going to then service those new clients if I get them? It takes time and energy, and that draws business, you know, resources away from my existing client work. That's a real major concern. When we tell people we can save them time on things like business valuations, and that, let's just say theoretically, we can save 100 hours, or just 100 hours you now have back to be billable hours on another engagement. Sometimes I hear people, it sounds like their head's going to pop because they think, I got 100 hours worth of work I could do, but how do I get that work in the door? Something that comes up all the time as a challenge that I think probably just reinforces what I just said is, we hear I have too much work right now. You know, if I have X number of hours in a year, I'm saturated. I can't handle more clients or more engagements. I'm just tapped out. I'd love to do more. On business valuations, I hear it all the time. People literally will tell me, hey, business valuation work, that comes up all the time now. It's in the conversation all the time. But I don't have the bandwidth to handle more. So I farm them out, or I do what I can and I don't go through a full engagement. So that's always something that comes up. A challenge I hear folks saying is their client base isn't interested in something like a valuation, business valuation, or a consulting engagement. They come in, they do their tax work with me. Maybe we look at the books once every year or two, but that's it. They're not interested in paying for more engagements. They're not interested in sitting down and having that conversation. So it's a client base issue where they don't seem to be that interested in it. Now, I'm not trying to be controversial and pin the blame back on our listeners and our customers, but that really comes down to how you guys, to generalize as accountants, position those engagements. If you try to go back at them with the same story you've been telling them for the last 10 years, it's not going to resonate any different. If they weren't interested a year ago, they might not be now. So we'll get into how we can help you with that, but I think there's a double-edged sword there. The clients aren't that interested, and the way we present things sometimes keeps that lack of interest in place. And I guess a last challenge in terms of how to grow a practice comes down to, I don't have the staff to handle more work. If I bring on 2 new people, it's going to cost me more money. It's going to take me X number of weeks, billable hours to train them. I'm still going to have to oversee the work, review the work, correct the work when it isn't right. So there's all those challenges that jump in that just come with trying the great idea of let's grow our practice. All of those things would create more value, but we get it. It's hard to do those things with the resources and the process you've got in place. That's hard to do. So let's move over from like the growing process part of this to the actual infrastructure, where scalability being the key word for growing a firm and growing your practice. The current generation of professionals like you folks, you've had a lot of different technology at your disposal. Certainly people now, us now, have way different technology at our disposal than we did even 10 years ago. The cool thing, I think, is we've all adapted to wave after wave of new technology. I just look back over 20 years in sales. I remember sales guys, we'd line up at a fax machine to send 100 faxes to our prospects about what we have to offer them. So those types of things have fallen by the wayside really quickly. The pace is only going to increase when new technology comes on. So certainly cloud computing, software as a service is spreading throughout the B2B world really rapidly. With that IT pace, one of the key things as a challenge also, that infrastructure, not only is it going to sustain your growth, but it's also going to attract new talent to your firm. And I think as we all hire that next generation of software sales folks, marketing people, accountants, we're going to expect to have the best technology at our disposal. We're not going to want to use snail mail. We're going to want to have the best way we can communicate with our clients at our disposal. So your technology that you have at your firm is going to be a major differentiator for you in hiring new talent down the road. If it's an equal, all things being equal, if your technology is subpar to the firm down the street, they're probably going to take the job down the street. The real major challenge to the infrastructure part of this discussion is most of you are accountants, you're CFOs, you're business brokers, you're consultants, you're finance folks. You're not an IT expert. You're not the chief technology officer. You might not even be a chief compliance officer. All of those things come with a ginormous list of expertise that you need to do it well. So you have to try and do all of those, wear those different hats. It takes a lot of time and effort to do that, and that's a major problem with growing and changing infrastructure. Just the idea of the cloud and SaaS brings some hesitation that people will tell us all the time, hey, what I have works. It's slow and it's hard to teach people, but it's what I've used and it isn't broken, so why should I replace it? The flip side to that is with something like ProfitCents or the Valuation solution, the firms that make a change that we are help be successful using our software, when they look back after a really short amount of time, they see how much better their process has become so quickly and how much more productive their firm is. I think that's something that Kirk, at the end of this, he'll be able to really bring to life for this conversation. On our valuation software, which is still very new to the marketplace, when we have folks using that for a month or two, right off the bat on the first engagement, they already can't remember how they used to do it the old way. So there's a lot of cool things there in terms of the infrastructure. It's a challenge, but it's also got a great opportunity to become more powerful for your firm. Which brings me to the first poll question we have here for you guys today. And that'll be something you'll be able to check off on your screen as Colin works that here for you. The poll question is, would you say that your firm is adequately leveraging technology to build relationships with your clients and prospects? And it's just a yes, no, I don't know question. So we'll give you a minute or two to check that off and then we'll look at results. The answers are coming in.
All right, so the results from the first poll is that we had 24% say that yes, their firm is adequately leveraging technology. 47% says no, they're not leveraging technology currently at their firm, and 29% are kind of in this unsure stage. Mike, is that what you were expecting to hear?
It kind of is, yeah, thanks. That was Zach, by the way. We didn't introduce Zach. He's here with us also. He's on our marketing team. Zach just read off our results there. And yeah, I would say if you combine no and unsure, you're well over 75%. And that's pretty accurate to what people tell us. So unfortunately, yeah, the results are where I expected them to be. So let's move from our setting up the challenges, and now we'll try to relate those challenges into how Sageworks is interacting with firms out in the marketplace. A lot of that yes, no, and a lot of the no and unsure there comes from you guys know that the limitations at your current infrastructure. Your servers run locally, so you're kind of tied to your office in terms of working a lot of times. You've got to update everything yourselves, whether it's software or templates you use or research. You have to provide all the training to your staff. Compliance all falls on you. It's a complete full-time job. You could probably hire 2 people for well over 6 figures to do those jobs for you effectively, but you do it all, and a lot of times you cobble that together on your own time. So Sageworks, we're helping firms in a pretty straightforward and simple way. So for almost 15 years, we've been partnering with progressive accounting firms. The platform is entirely web-based, so it's accessible from anywhere on any device. So you've got the ability now to work on the go, let's call it. You could be home, you could be at a multiple office, situation, you could be on the road, in front of a client. The whole platform is completely accessible from wherever you go. Now, not only do you have all of our client base using the software and giving us feedback, we also have our team of developers and experts in-house that do things like make sure that all updates happen. So we stay abreast of industry changes to ensure that the platform is creating output and data that fits your current needs. We do any debugging. If something pops up, we fix it. You don't have to worry about fixing something like that. On November 13th, we'll have another update coming out for ProfitCents and for Valuation solution. You've probably seen some major press releases from us about our electronic tax return reader and our upcoming ability to integrate financials from zero. Those types of things happen. You don't have to worry about doing anything on your end. We just make that happen on our side. We are also helping firms, and on the business tip of the spear here, we have data on private industry performance, on business valuations. We have report templates built, but we basically take a firm like yours and we help you create actionable reports that are going to drive more revenue, create more engagements, help you win more business, and deliver more value to the clientele in your area. The technology is pretty simple to use, quite honestly, and we make that data integration painless, accurate, and fast. The Sageworks industry database is being used by over 4,000 firms that rely on our products every day. So the Sageworks technology platform takes the data, the framework, all the support, the consulting and training, and we put it right into your office for you. So going a little further now down how our customers are achieving ROI, think about your client and you've got, that person comes in, let's say for a tax engagement, and it's that one dot there on the top half of that chart. You've got them for a tax engagement, and that's what you talk about. Well, if you were able to feel secure and know that you have the scalability and the processes to handle more engagements like valuation work or forecasting or analysis and consulting type engagements, audit work, if you had that backbone behind you, that support system behind you, you could have a conversation with that client when you're there for tax work and say, hey, maybe in 3 months when things slow down for you, we should come in and you should come back in. We should talk about how much your business is worth. If you're thinking about selling in 3 years, we should start to know exactly what it's worth and what you need to do to make it as valuable as possible. Or you could look at client performance and show them benchmarking data and compare their performance to other companies in their industry and show them 2 or 3 or 4 different ways where with some tweaks to their business process, their business can become more profitable and be a true consultant to them and not just their tax guy. Everybody needs their taxes done. It's definitely an honorable, hard profession. We hear the tax stress twice a year here at least at Sageworks. We live and breathe the tax schedule just with you, along with you folks. April and October 15th are tough times for us as well as you. But to become more than just a tax person to that tax firm is a big win for most firms. The other thing we do when we take that one dot, if you will, and say, let's change this client into a multi-engagement client for the year, and let's retain that client longer, is you can review that industry data and show them reports, even if it's not something they need to look into. You could be the person that uncovers things for them. So it's a pretty important process. How our customers achieve the ROI is just generating more revenue from more engagements and moving that client from just one type of engagement to a multi-engagement client. Now, the backbone, if you will, like I said there, it's that software as a service that we use to scale your firm. It's going to create flexibility for your firm. That'll come along. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. The scalability slide, there we go. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Stay right there, Zach. Excuse me, folks. That was part of that part of the conversation I was just talking about, number of engagements. This retention slide here, where if we do one engagement for one service, our 10-year retention rate is only 12%. If we go to the middle of 3, it's a 36% retention rate. If you provide 5 services for someone, they're going to stay with you for the entire life of their business. And that's a pretty important slide there. That data comes from a really well-respected thought leader in the industry. So that's a real big piece of that puzzle there. More engagements, you retain your clients for life. Software as a service, that's going to be a major part of allowing you to do that, to have the bandwidth to do it. We've seen stats from companies using software as a service that have faster implementation than on-premise software solutions. 80% of those firms say software as a service is faster to implement. 69% of businesses that are using SaaS say it's helping them standardize their processes, and 67% are saying they need less in-house staff to run those processes while they use the SaaS technology. So we touched on it a minute ago. It's going to allow for ongoing and automated updates from Sageworks. It's going to make your jobs easier. You're going to have less IT headaches, more time for client-facing work, which is what you're supposed to be doing. You'll have zero installation. Minimal IT resources are going to be required from your firm. You're going to have consultants that will work with you all the time. So it'll just be a much easier process to have in place than your current one to acquire new business. So that tips us up to another poll question, and this one is going to be more about, do the employees at your firm ever work, remotely or travel for work? So are they working remotely? Are they traveling for work? Are you traveling for work? Do you work from multiple locations? So we'll take a moment here while everybody checks off their answer, and then we'll segue right back to answers there. Okay, so we're back. Everybody certainly got the answers in quicker that time, and it's a predominant yes. 94% of you say, yeah, you work remotely or you travel for work. That's kind of what we expected. I think everybody feels that way pretty much at every job we have now. We work remotely or we travel. And technology we use is a big part of allowing us to do that and have that flexibility and the ability to work from wherever we go. So that will bring us a little forward in the conversation. We did promote this as being a little bit more product-centric, but I did want to really take some time to frame this and put this in context. The Sageworks accounting platform, we have two main platforms here that that are out in the market being used, ProfitCents and the Sageworks Valuation solution. ProfitCents is built to make the Sageworks industry database actionable for you. That is a private industry database that goes across 1,286 codes. The point of that whole platform is to help you win new clients and to walk your existing clients through complex financial performance discussions so you can have a frank, honest conversation about their business, which will lead to more engagements for you. The Sageworks Valuation solution has been designed to streamline the entire valuation engagement process. It will let you be able to use the market, the income, and asset approaches. It will also include the Sageworks industry database for your financial analysis, and it's going to help you create business valuation reports that are modeled after the AICPA's guidelines under SSVS1. Now, how do we help you create value for your existing clients and for new clients? That was one of the main points to this whole conversation, I think, is how are you going to be able to provide more value and how are you going to have that scalability? These two platforms are designed to help you land and create new engagements. They're based in the cloud, on SaaS, software as a service, so you'll be allowed to scale your firm without touching and sapping existing resources. It's going to help you create the ability to have engagements that are beyond tax work and have more consulting engagements, which are higher revenue generating engagements for accounting firms. Those engagements do become more labor intensive, so we're going to help automate a lot of those processes for you. When we ask firms how they differentiate themselves from their competition, it's amazing when we have that kind of conversation with folks. 90% of you will say, well, it's the service I provide that separates me from the other 4 or 5 or 10 shops in town. But I got to tell you, when then we ask, well, what are the things that you do? Like, what is the special thing you're doing service-wise? Most times people don't really have an answer. It's like, well, I really pay attention. I provide great service. The really amazingly scary thing about that is every single firm we talk to, when we ask them what they do to separate themselves, to differentiate, says service. So everybody's kind of doing the same thing, and that's really very consistent. We hear that every day. So to actually be able to acquire and develop new clients, and as a differentiator for your firm to provide different services than you are right now, and to have the safety net software-wise, process-wise to do those engagements is a major win, because that's really going to be a true differentiator. So with that in mind and the idea of differentiation, let's look at another quick poll question. This one is, what roadblocks have you seen to adapting or adopting new technology solutions at your firm? I think this is timed well because we're talking about differentiation, and folks try to, if it works, we don't fix it. It's not broke, we don't fix it. But what are the roadblocks you see at your firm to adopting new technology solutions? So I'll let you guys have a minute and we'll look at that answers. Okay, all right, that's good. We're really close to having everyone having voted, so let's just look at the answers. The top one there, company culture, doesn't come in too often. Cost is a major roadblock. People look at that. It's 30% of you say the cost is going to be prohibitive to adopting new technologies. The runaway winner on this one at number 50%, their number 3, is going to be that you're unfamiliar with potential solutions. And that actually draws back to a talking point I didn't mention earlier. I had jotted down for myself. One of the challenges we hear a lot is the implementation time that people think it's going to take to get new technology in place. But there's also like a prequel to that where I'm not familiar with potential solutions. It's going to take me time to research them. It's going to take me time to decide and make a decision on which one I want to use. And then the true implementation starts. So being unfamiliar with potential solutions actually was something I was going to mention earlier. I consider it like a prequel to implementation challenges. And then another 14 or so % of you say that you're too busy. That workload of being what it is, it's tough to make a change, and that's something we hear pretty often too. I think kind of telling though also is that 7% of you said none, that you don't have any roadblocks, so that's great. I mean, you guys are the highly progressive folks that don't really see any roadblocks. So let's jump in a little deeper and take a quick look at the Sageworks ProfitCents and Sageworks Valuation solution. The Sageworks Proprietary Industry Database. This is driven from ProfitCents. It's a major backbone to everything we do in the accounting space. And it's data covering 1,200 industries. We've got data points across the income statement and the balance sheets, and ratios get derived from all the data items. Basically, this is going to be our clientele. It's a cooperative data model entering private client, private company business financial statements into the Sageworks ProfitCents database. It gets aggregated every morning. Outliers, high and low, bad data gets scrubbed out. We have accountants on staff that review the data, make sure it's clean and ready to be shared, and then it gets all aggregated together by NASIX code every day. We have key performance indicators for roughly 1,000 of those industries. So if you have clients in the restaurant or trucking industry or healthcare or construction, we'll be able to have key performance indicators for those specific industries. And that drives right out of what our customers tell us they need. So it's all entered financials that are all entered by financial professionals. It's not self-reported, filtered to avoid duplications, incorrect sample data, and gets excluded, that anything that deviates from industry ranges. You can use this industry data. You can become an expert on an industry so you can prospect someplace new. It's invaluable, really, for winning new business. I don't know how folks would do it otherwise. If you've got a local chapter of dental professionals meeting, you run the industry code for dentists, you look at the ratio performance of that industry over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. You've got that data in your hand. You can talk it. You could also just show up and hand out a report and say, hey, we could take a look at your business and do this. And I don't know how much time it would take someone to do that on their own. So that's the Sageworks proprietary industry data. We start to make that a little bit more actionable here with our client narrative reports. This is going to let you really rapidly take financial statements from your client and turn them into actionable documents you can share with that client. Everybody's clients are good at what they do, right? Auto mechanics, bakers, dentists, doctors, whatever, but they're not financially savvy, really, in most cases. Most cases, you know, the person that makes pizzas doesn't know what a ratio is, and they don't know how to have a conversation with it. And I think the part that falls on your side of this is accountants haven't known really how to have a conversation to make that financial information so Joe every day can understand what we're talking about. So this is going to take all that financial data, red light, yellow light, green light sort of format there like you see on the screen, and it's going to let you be able to have a very, very frank conversation about their business. And you'll be able to explain to them the financial data from the past, how they'll be able to make some changes and improve their business. You can demonstrate key pain points that they probably don't even know they have. So it's going to make financial data become a conversation between you and your clients and lead to consulting engagements in the future. The next part of the ProfitCents system is the projections and forecasting report there. So this is going to give you the ability to take historical financials and instantly create a projection where you can look at a projected period from 5 to 10 years. You'll be able to start developing deeper relationships with a client and extend the services that you provide them. It's going to let you have the ability to quickly create a what-if scenario. So you can analyze that during a consulting engagement and help your client plan for the future. It's going to help obtain financing. There's loan analysis, debt analysis, and evaluate the impact of future business decisions. And its main value that we see is it helps establish your firm as a trusted advisor to your clients. It's that crystal ball, if you will, where they say, hey, let's take a look at what the future holds. So that's a key part of the ProfitCents system there, the projections tool. Next up is the analytical procedures. If you're doing audits, that's a very labor-intensive, a lot of documentation, but it's very repetitive. We have a whole component, a whole module, if you will, of ProfitCents that automates the expected values and threshold analysis. It enables more time to be spent on analysis and review and less on bookkeeping, if we're just, I shouldn't say bookkeeping, I should say paperwork, right? Our clients that use this system, they benefit from the standardized documentation. They have fewer data errors and they're more compliant. And it can be used for private companies or government entities, nonprofits, and financial institutions. So we've got all those different criteria built into the platform. Next takes us over out of the ProfitCents system and into the new platform, the business valuations, Sageworks Valuation solution. This is going to enable pros, CPAs, business valuation folks to streamline the workflow and save time, which will increase realization rates and reduce the risk of error. Everybody is using Excel spreadsheets to do these valuation work. Just came from a conference and everybody told me they have a spreadsheet template that they use that's 80, 75, 80 tabs wide across the bottom, really ripe with error. And then reporting and creating business valuation reports takes forever. It's a very labor-intensive process. We have a template modeled after SSVS1, very customizable to build your own report right into the software, something we can help folks do. So you have income, market, asset approach calculations, the Sageworks industry data built right in here for financial analysis. We've got a public company feed built in to help find public company comparable data, and a document tracking solution in the cloud to help organize and store business valuation engagement documents. So bottom line is our customers are telling us this is saving them a conservative 8 to 10 hours per engagement on valuation work. And now, I should say last but not lastly, or last but not least, is the consulting and training, the true technology partnership element of Sageworks. You're not just buying a box of software, putting it on your computer, and then we walk out the door. To be scalable, you really need to have your clientele fully up on this platform. You need to really have your staff using it and bringing it out to the market. We're a true partner. Our experts, we update the platform to ensure it meets the industry's needs. Our developers make the implementation easy. We have consultants and trainers that will work and have a one-on-one conversation with you to collaborate on what your value, what you want to define as value, what you want to do, how you want to use our software, our platforms, identify the actions that are going to deliver client value. And we bring that attitude to every single partnership we have with every one of our clients. We create a technology partnership to help you scale your firm upward. And all the IT-related headaches are removed. You go be accountants again. Don't worry about the IT issues. So you're not alone when you start to use Sageworks, work with Sageworks. It's a partnership, and we're there, just a phone call or a plane trip away from helping out with anything you need. The how to get started portion of this is the one part of the conversation where I was like always kind of coughing to myself, but it's pretty simple. At your firm, you're going to decide which person on your team is going to use this software, who's going to be the key person, and then we work with that key person to identify where we're going to help you. You basically identify clients that are going to benefit from those services, and we'll help you get your services in front of that client and get that engagement going, so you can extend more services out to the area, out to your base. And we'll just build a plan for helping you get ProfitCents and the valuation solution fully integrated in your company, and how you can basically get it out to your marketplace. So let's go to a quick poll question, and then we're going to go to our guest speaker, which I want to make sure we have a lot of time for. The question is, are you ready to have a conversation this month about how Sageworks solutions can benefit your firm? So give you a minute to answer that, and then we'll get to our guest speaker. Okay, thanks. So got our answers back from that question. We'll just move forward now to our key speaker. We don't want to take more time from our next question, our next poll speaker here. So our Sageworks customer we're going to introduce is Kirk McLaren. Kirk is a CFO, MBA, CPA here. He's based in Washington, D.C. He's a lecturer at Georgetown University. He's the founder of Foresight CFO Consulting. I'm not going to read all of this. It's a lot of, he does some great work. He provides outsourced CFO and accounting services nationwide. And strategic financial management value builder method is proven to increase business by 71% on average based on 6,500 companies. So again, I don't want to read all that off. It'll be on the slideshow, but Kirk McLaren, CFO, MBA, CPA out of Washington, D.C. And I'm going to turn it over to Kirk, and we'll get Kirk on the line.
Great. Hello, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kirk. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate having you here. I'm sure everybody on the line also is really excited, interested to hear, how you've been able to leverage the Sageworks ProfitCents platform. And I guess, let me ask you this, to sort of get us rolling. ProfitCents, how have you used it since you had it to help win new clients?
Okay, so we've been using ProfitCents for about 4 months now, and just a few weeks into learning the system, which came very natural, we became the outsourced CFO and outsourced accounting function for a premium salt company in Austin. And it was specifically the information that we could speak to about the owner's company concerning how we freed up $498,000 of cash that sparked his interest in talking to us more about what we can do for his business. So we used ProfitCents to compare his ratios, and we discovered that his inventory turn was 3 times slower than average for his peer companies. And this was a premium salt company. They had a lot of salt. They had $752,000 of salt, and $498,000 of it was just basically stale inventory that wasn't moving. So we helped them free up almost a $500,000 cash flow by demonstrating to him that if he just gets to be average based on the peers in his industry, he can free up $500,000 of cash flow. And that led to a discussion about what is he doing for inventory management, tracking, how is he clearing products that are not selling so that he can focus on the high demand products that are churning much faster, and taking that all the way through, demonstrating the impact it had on his balance sheet, his cash flow, and even his profit and loss statement with a faster churn. So just that alone, in the first month, we more than doubled what we invested in ProfitCents for an entire year.
Okay, well that's music to our ears. Obviously, we're here to do exactly that for you, so you could do that for that guy's business down the road, down the line, right? And we talk about with people all the time about, hey, look, you could be able to compare this data to your client's business and find things like this that really is going to help your client's business. Have you had any cases where you've won a new client using ProfitCents?
Well, that was an example where we won new clients, and it changed for that client. It was a referral from a CEO coach, and so to win that business, based on what we could demonstrate for him, but it was a big win for us. We've been using it for prospecting both warm leads and cold leads, and it's increased our close ratio probably by about 75%. And we have much more specific about our discussion. But if you like, I can discuss how we use ProfitCents to help existing clients.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's a great idea. We talk, you just talk about a new business. How does it help you with existing clients?
Yeah. So one of our best clients is a for-profit education company, and they deliver services for high-achieving high school students who express interest in a specific profession. It could be scientific, it could be medical, could be even business and other things. And for this customer, we had the base of financial management down. We did annual planning and budgeting where we could see 12 months out. We did the month-to-month variance work to help them stay on course, and we did the year-end reporting and tax work that included outsourced accounting. So this is one of our we had a full set of work. What we lacked was long-range visibility. We weren't able to perform, the what-if scenarios. What if we increase price by 1% and decrease, overhead costs by some percent? We just didn't have the time because it was so labor-intensive to build those models and then, be able to go through them in a way that was meaningful to help a business owner make decisions. So we definitely didn't calculate things like the valuation on a scheduled basis, and we definitely were not benchmarking, his company to peers, because we didn't have the database, didn't have the resources to put that kind of time into it. So with ProfitCents, we were able to prepare a strategic discussion with the business owner, and using the charts, things of that nature, we were able to show the impact of small pricing changes, or the impact of managing direct costs or overhead costs better. And in addition, showing him how he compares to peers in his industry for a number of reasons, including at some point everyone has to do something to sell their business, and when you go to do that, you want to be in the top percentile of your industry so that there's a seller's market. So, using the tools, we literally prepared the strategic discussion, went face-to-face and presented it in all the graphs, and just literally blew him away. I mean, his facial affect changed. It changed our discussion from basic block and tackle financial management to something much bigger, where it became strategic financial management with accounting services as a baseline. And it really was a big win, where we're now, the basics are still working for us, but we have moved up the food chain, where it's not just accounting and financial management, kind of the recurring things that happen month to month. So it's a much more valuable discussion that we're having, and the compensation is tracking that more valuable discussion, where essentially our fees for that type of service are 4 to 5 times greater than what it would be for strictly accounting or financial management alone. So and on top of that, not only are we having these phenomenal interactions with our existing customers and starting new discussions with newer customers who are getting into it, I'm a father of 2, a husband of 1, and I got a lot of time back in my week to week, month to month. I got time where I would have been crunching numbers in a self-made spreadsheet. I don't do that. I don't spend that kind of time anymore, and I'm getting better results because I have the benefits of ProfitCents to do the heavy lifting for me.
That's great. Let me ask you a quick question on that. And somebody typed this in as a poll question or as just a viewer question here. Was it difficult to implement the ProfitCents solution? This is what the question says.
It was very easy. That's why we got our return. It was for about 26 days. We broke even on the product, and we got a turn so fast because it was easy. I mean, it was a very familiar format. You log into a browser-based system, and then from there, we keyed in both the income statement and the balance sheet into ProfitCents, and then it's just a matter of selecting the kind of report we want, and ProfitCents does the work, from that point forward. So it was easy. Then there's some plug and play where you're changing variables on the assumptions on the forecast going out. That it was easy enough within a few weeks. It was becoming a part of our normal process when we're talking to current customers and prospects.
Okay, that's great. So let me read another question here. It looks like we had a few questions pop in, and we have time for probably another one. So what are your top tips for finding new clients? Sorry, it's really small in the browser there.
But I think the top tips are referrals. Some of these customers that you blow away with this new conversation you're having with them, once they're starting to realize the benefit is, I ask each one for 3 referrals. Beyond that, other business contacts and other people in related industries who have confidence in us, wealth management folks, banks, CEO coaches are all good referral sources. Then beyond that, being the second key area for us is that we're active in the community. There's masterminds for business owners. There's all kinds of different entrepreneurial groups. I try to make sure I'm in the same groups. I participate fully and frequently, so I'm seeing people and I'm understanding what their needs are. And then from a cold lead standpoint, somebody where we have a name or number from someplace, or email. What we're doing now is we're reaching out we do some basic research about their company, and we include that peer ratio information on, a few key things that could be of interest. And we let the business owner know that we're interested in their company. We've been doing research, and we noticed these specific things concerning the ratios about their industry, and how are they doing, and let's have a 10-minute discussion. And that's been getting better results than it had previously, where it was the same approach but without those specific facts to work with.
Okay, great. Like I said before, Kirk, it's our pleasure to help you, and that kind of trickles down, economically, I guess, out to your clients. It's awesome to help you help other businesses out there, and that's really what we're here to do. And it's really cool hearing your story, and hopefully everybody on the call, valued your time and the story there as well. So I'm going to turn it back over to Colin for a moment here.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you again to Kirk for being here today. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Just a little bit of, thank you. A little bit of housekeeping. So for everyone who has registered for this webinar, you will receive the recording and a copy of this presentation afterward this week. So just make sure you're looking for that email. Obviously, you can share this with whomever you like, and of course, our contact information will be included. You can always reply directly to that email that you receive, and that'll go straight to the marketing team, and we will make sure that we respond to your inquiries and let us know if we can help in any way. Also, like I said earlier, make sure you're looking for upcoming webinars. You'll receive announcements in your email. Also, you can find them on our website when you go to Sageworks.com and look for resources. You'll see a variety of different things for accounting and also for valuation specifically, and of course for banking if you happen to be a banker. So thank you for taking the time today. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you again soon.